Alrighty. Bring us back. Bring us back. All right, so hey everybody, welcome back to the LuckyDog Podcast. This is your host, Elias Rouse. Today we are discussing Avatar Fire and Ash. It is a continuation of James Cameron's biggest epic series coming out, Avatar, for the past, since, was it 2009 was the original one? Now we had the follow-up was Avatar The Way of the Water, I believe. And now we are on Avatar Fire and Ash. The last one came out in the end of 2022. And continuing on, we got another banger here, everybody. Nothing wrong with that. I will say it is very much more of the same of what we got in the original Avatar, but definitely much more of a continuation of The Way of Water. As you can see, it's a highly visually just rich with color. I'd say the story is probably going to be one of the thinnest parts that people are going to have the gripes with, but it's a very high concept, easy to follow along movie that probably, I want to say, does pretty good numbers in around the world, even in China as well. This movie cost $400 million and has already grossed 72 million. It is just like a box office juggernaut every time it comes through. It is one of the most impressive financial feats that have ever been shown. It is, let's just say, it's another banger. Like I said, the first one was a little bit rockier, I'd say, in the concept of just having the full understanding of the movie. Sorry, of the world of the avatars, individuals, the Navi. But once we got into the second one, I'd say The Way of the Water really showed you, the expansion of what James Cameron was really talking about, because we're going to start to get into spoilers of the first two movies first, so that we can kind of talk about it with, real substance. But if you jumped into this not knowing the first two movies, you're going to be kind of lost. I did not rewatch The Way of the Water, and I gotta be honest, I didn't remember what happened. Many people will say that these movies might say they're they're more of a visual spectacle and less of a memorable, theatrical, emotional, triggering drive. But I will say the biggest thing that I am looking at this movie at is it is very visually rich. It is very much of a spectacle of like wanting to see what's happening, from scene to scene to scene. Like, you never know what you're gonna get. But with saying that, it is it's a heavy one. This is definitely the movie that is dealing with the fallout of what has happened in the previous two movies. It's not just like a light continuation. It is, the characters are grieving. The characters are very much trying to protect their home just as much as they have in the previous ones. I'd say that this was the one that I could feel the dramatic tension the most. But with saying that, I also was in I also was noticing plot points within the movie that felt forced in. This movie is running 3 hours and 15 minutes, and I don't want to say I felt all 3 hours and 15 minutes of it. I'd say that I felt probably 2.5 hours pretty smooth sailing without even thinking about it. But then at a certain point, I was just like, oh, okay, this is, because I didn't look at the runtime, and I had forgotten how long the other ones were. I don't think the first Avatar was nearly this long, and the second one was 192 minutes. So it was just over 3 hours. This one's 3:15, and you know it's still one of the biggest visual spectacles you'll ever see. You feel like you're being transported to another world. I said this about The Way of Water, that it feels at many times that James Cameron actually went to another planet and is filming in like a Planet Earth documentary style, and I'm totally here for that. Like the visuals are absolutely stunning. Story, light, visuals, stunning. The ways that we were focusing on some of the younger crowd, the teens of the Na'vi in the second movie, The Way of Water, found for me were a little bit lacking in substance, but eventually just came back with a very smooth emotional punch that I really needed at the end of the second movie. And I thought the second one, in comparison to going into this one, was actually just a little bit more effective. So, with saying that, it's still another, movie that if you've already watched the first two, if you have any emotional investment in this series, just for the sheer curiosity of like, is it, still hitting on all cylinders? I absolutely think so. The parts I would say for this one, for the negative side, I don't know if it's not necessarily a negative, but let's just say that since this is 3 hours and 15 minutes, you're going to have another extra 30 minutes in theaters getting the trailers and all that stuff. And it is a long time at the movie theater for a single film. And I could tell that Cameron had, this is, he shaved it down to 3 hours and 15 minutes. It feels every bit like there was a 5-hour cut of this, and oh my goodness, I bet the 5-hour cut was probably just as good, but it's probably paced a little bit more like a television show, to be honest. At first, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be a quick 2 hours and 45 minutes." That doesn't sound quick at all, but I looked at my watch at a certain time, and I was like, "This doesn't look like it's about to end anytime soon." Anyways, I would give this a solid 8 out of 10. I don't remember if I gave The Way of Water an 8 out of 10. I probably did, especially on IMDb. But I found The Way of Water more emotionally impacting, I think. And there were parts of this movie that I felt like I had more time to... Okay, so the other one was 3 hours and 12 minutes. Sorry, maybe I guess I just felt this one a little bit longer. Yeah, and I did give it an 8. The parts of this movie that kind of stuck out to me were there's random parts that a little bit of the Spider Boy syndrome, a little bit too much focus on them, a little bit too much focus. It felt like an overstuffed movie. Like there were so many different things that we were trying to do, and we could not pack them all in 3 hours and 15 minutes. But with saying that, almost there was hardly any fat on this movie. I'd say like it was really, just like the Na'vi, this is a trim 3 hour 15-minute cut because we were moving through like 6 hours of plot. And when you trim that much time off, I feel like you give short shrift onto certain characters, which unfortunately felt like we were missing some parts of the story or character motivations. Even at the beginning when the family is deciding kind of early on that they want to make a major family move, that they're going to all travel together away from the water Na'vi. Can't remember what they're called at the moment, but once they decide to move away from or not to move, but to travel away for a little bit, I was like, there was less than like a 3-minute like transition scene of like everyone's sad. All right, now everyone's making an emotional move. All right, everyone's all in agreement all of a sudden. I was like, wait. People would be pissed. Like, you'd be, like, absolutely pissed. There was no time for what I would say is dilly-dallying, for a better word. I don't have a better word for this, but it definitely feels like an overstuffed story, and it gives unfortunate short shrift to some of our more interesting characters. Now, Colonel Quaritch, I feel like his role in the first movie was just kind of moderate. It increased like three folds in the second one. And then the third movie, this is really more like his movie in many parts. I'd say he's just as much of the secondary character to this film than a lot of the main family. And we're also introduced to the fire Navi, and I was just I was just on one hand, the spectacle just is jaw dropping. You never know what's going to happen next from a visual standpoint, and it's always extremely visually interesting. On the other hand, this feels like a 2.5 version of The Way of Water. I think a lot of people were expecting it to be more of a let me see. I think more people were expecting it to have because it's considered fire and ash. It felt like the first movie was like, oh, it's the Earth Avatar, it's the second one's gonna be water Avatar, and then the third one's gonna be the fire Avatar. Kind of similar to what literally the Nickelodeon's Avatar, the Last Airbender show. You know how they have all the different elements. So, with saying that, I want people to kind of go in knowing that this is not like, oh, now we're going to the fire planet or something like that. This is more like the fire planet. People are coming to us or to them, and the action. So if you remember how crazy and intense the Titanic action was in any of the Titanic, obviously, then imagine that about every 50 minutes of this movie. I mean, there is just crazy, breathtaking spectacle happening here. And I think the spectacle supersedes actually a lot of the story and some of the acting at some points too. Once again, Worthington and Saldana is bringing the fire on their A game. I'd say the story is a little lacking for the Jake Sully character in some points. He's making like crazy rash decisions that don't feel 100% organic or natural to what's happening to the system. There'll be like a big, people are running away, and then all of a sudden they'll have like a quick emotional, like jerry-rigging of the story so that it makes it look like, oh, there's more drama happening than what really needs to happen. And I felt like a quick edit of this movie would have really, not a quick edit, but I think there was actually a couple scenes that really could have been reworked a little bit just to kind of make it a smoother transition between things that were happening or places that they wanted them to go. So what about the fire people? What about the fire individuals? Let me see. Okay, so let me see if I can find this real quick with synopsis. Oh, this is The Way of the Water. Well, I was like, why do I not see fire and ass? I was like, this looks too much like. All right, here we go. Latitude. All right, I'm just gonna type this in. So, essentially, the movie's nearly nonstop, and that's not really a bad thing to me on a couple of levels, but it also feels like it. I don't know if it takes away from anything, but it just. I was like, why can't I find the wiki? Here we go. It's nonstop to the point where it feels overstuffed. Give it an 8 out of 10. Let's hop into the synopsis of Avatar: Fire and Ash. Avatar: Fire and Ash is a 2025 American epic science fiction film directed by James Cameron, who wrote the screenplay. Rick Jaffa, Amanda Silver from the story. The trio wrote with Josh Friedman and Shane Saderno. Distributed by 20th Century Fox, produced by Lightstorm Entertainment. I think Weta did the special effects, and to my knowledge, they've shot these movies years ago, but I don't have the exact timeline. But it would make sense if they shot them years ago and have just been rendering the shit out of them for years since. And they shot them like back to back to back, so pretty smart to release them year after year. I like this poster too; it's really cool. It is the third sequel. Sorry, it is the sequel to Avatar: The Way of Water 2022. What year is it again? And the third installment in the Avatar franchise. Sam Worthington, Saldana, Sigourney Weaver, Stephen Lang, and Kate Winslet reprised their roles in the front of the previous films. Oana Chaplin and David Thewlis joined the cast. I have no idea who David Thewlis plays. Let me see. I'm going to be mind blown here in a second because I did not know I was looking at David Thewlis. Fire and Ash. Who's he playing? Oh, okay. That makes sense why I like that guy. Damn. Okay. Interesting. You'll probably never guess it's him because it's really hard to tell. But Oana Chaplin, holy halibut. And I don't remember exactly what she was in. She is the new main antagonist here, coming from yeah, I don't recognize any of this. She was in What If? That's not the thing. Huh. Yeah, I don't recognize... Oh, she was in Quantum of Solace. Okay. Pelican Blood, High and Drive, The Devil's Double. I did see that. Sorrows, Powder Room, Purgadero, Alof. I don't remember... I haven't seen any of these with her in, but she's really fucking good, I'll be honest. So, yeah, breaking it down. Continuing on, sorry, I wanted to see who these new people were in the cast that are really... Hold on. Let me see. Back it up, Terry. Back it up, Terry. Who were bringing the literal fire here. Yeah, here she is. I was like, what? Like, several times from the performance to the way that she shot to the way that the entire fire people were introduced, like from the design, it obviously is going to evoke some of like Native American kind of imagery. And even in the first movie, they're like calling them quote unquote savages and stuff like that. I'd say these guys are a little bit more quote unquote, intense if you want to get wild with it, but I still don't want to go to like the derogatory route of it as well. Because I mean, one of the reasons that I'm not giving this movie a higher rating is because there are story elements that I feel like don't flow into each other as well as the second movie or maybe even the first movie. However, in addition to it, I don't think the fire people are given much of a personality or a persona kind of deal. It's mostly all done through her. And with as much as like they're putting into these new individuals, it's like, bringing them in as new characters. It's like, is there any fucking room at this point? There's like 10 people in the family. There's like 500 tribe members. There's like 30 bad guys. And then somehow we're going to stuff Owana's, fire and ass up in this. Like, there's just not much room from a time screen perspective, which I'm honestly surprised that they could just weave the majority of that in, even though it wasn't always graceful in going into some of these plot points. But still, it was a visual feast for the eyes. I saw it in 3D, by the way, and I think I saw it in regular frame rate, because when I watched The Way of Water, it looked like it was in high frame rate, and it's not like I jumped at it a little bit because it looked a little bit like super digital. It looked almost like a game cut, like out of a video game or something like that, but like video game cutscene. But this one looked regular frame rate. And I didn't honestly notice too much of the digital visualization of this one. So Cameron, who has stated in mid-2000, let me see how much I want to do this. Holy shit, this is kind of a long one. Okay, let me skip some of this. Okay, so Avatar Fire and Ash has had its world premiere at Dolby Theater Hollywood December 1st. And I saw very limited trailers for this. I've been going to the movies consistently 2 or 3 times a month for the past like 6 to 7 months. And I've seen little to... I think I saw the trailer one time. I guess they are just kind of holding back on having to push a lot of marketing out so they save more money because they've spent so much on the actual film that they're just assuming that people are already like lined up to see it, or they're just using YouTube to go check out the trailer if they really want to see it. I didn't watch it with the exception of that one time. I think it was this trailer, and I didn't really feel like it gave too much away because they really held back on a lot of the dialogue and just let the spectacles talk for themselves. Avatar Fire and Ash has world premiere at Dolby Theater Hollywood December 1st, 2025. A premiere in New Zealand was held at the Embassy Theater on December 13th. The film was first released in the Philippines, Italy, and Germany on the 17th, and in the United States on the 19th. The film received mixed to positive reviews from critics who praised the visuals, the characters' performances, and action, with criticism towards the plot and runtime. 2 additional sequels, Avatar 4 and 5, Avatar 5, respectively, are respectively, are in various stages of production and are scheduled to be released in 2029 and 2031, respectively. Here's the plot. I didn't hear anyone say anything about the music, too. I thought the music was really kicking, too. Just the sounds in general, just like, it takes you there. It takes you there. So, sorry if I butcher some of this stuff. Some of it's a little bit more intense when it comes down to the pronunciation of some of this. I'm like, I don't know, man. Is this really... Does it really matter at a certain point? It does. Ish. Okay, so shortly after setting in the Medikayan clan, Jake and his spoilers ahead, by the way. Jake and his family grapples with grief over Netnyam's death. Natiri, in particular, has developed a hatred towards humans. The children help recover weapons from the sunken human ship. And so really thrown in there. The death of their son is lingering over a big chunk of this movie, even on the other brother as well. Everyone feels like they are to blame. Everyone feels sad and sorrow, and that it is just a big fucking downer, to be honest. And so Natiri is next level pissed, like to the point where she's trying to like get rid of. She hates all humans. She's done with all of it. She's even done with Spider Boy, and that's where the precipice of like Spider Boy has to keep a mask on his head for oxygen's sake, and if he loses, his oxygen tubes or whatever, then he can potentially suffocate on their planet, which is, interesting plot thread to start this about. Start, kind of keeping this around. And I was like, oh, this is going to be a movie about him trying to figure out how to survive on this planet. And we're going to have like a ticking time clock about, is he going to run out of air or something like that? I was like, oh, okay, this is a pretty interesting premise. I always kind of like it when there's like a ticking time clock on the plot, so it keeps the momentum going, and it's like, all right, we have a goal. But is it going to be, this, is this going to be it for the rest of the movie? Let's see. So, upon arriving the flying merchant ships, Jake and Natiri force Spider to, I'm calling him Spider Boy, Spider to leave the Medikayan clan. And, like, everyone's pissed that they're having to do it. The whole family's pissed. The kids are pissed. Everyone's pissed. And it's kind of at the will of Natiri. But after Jake sees, like, his mask go out, and he realizes that Spider's kind of, doesn't really belong here. It's like everyone just decides, all right, Spider needs to get, but we'll take you to the edge. You can come with us, or we'll come with you to drop you off after you're not going to be part of the family anymore. And I was like, this is kind of fucked. The ship's convoy is ambushed by an aggressive Navi tribe, the Mangquan. I think, I don't remember. Led by Tishik Varang. They set fire to the ships, looting them and killing the survivors. Jake and Natiri and the children are separated, but not before Loak kills several Mangquin with an assault rifle. Thank you for the 20 biddies. Josh, how's everyone doing? Did you get to see Avatar Fire and Ash? It's hard not to say Fire and Ash, isn't it? It's way too hard. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments, bro. So I was mind boggled for the first little bit of watching this. It was just like, damn, this is sad. Damn, this is crazy. Oh, damn, now it's even more crazy. And what James Cameron likes to do is do like the triple layer effect. I don't remember if we really stated it in The Way of Water, but basically it's like he has something like, ooh, that's bad. Ooh, that's even worse. Oh my God, I don't even know how we're going to fix this problem. And let's just say he does that like 3 times in this movie. He like every time he lays up a crazy action set piece, it's like, oh shit, this is bad. This is bad. This is real bad. It just continuously like compiles. And he's been doing that since the Titanic movies, I believe. So I'm just like kind of mouth agape, because I'm like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. And this first action scene, you are flying around on the backs of these Navi flying contraption animals, and they're on these ships that look like they're being pulled by big flying jellyfish type things, and even describing it, I sound kind of crazy, but I don't know if it's in the trailer. Um, I'll play it, so maybe it'll pop up here in a second. Here it is. So just having this crazy action scene going around. Here we go. Yeah, these things, these like jellyfish things, and when they're being attacked by the fire Navi. That's what I'm just gonna call them that. I don't remember what the clan is called. That it just gets fucking wild, man. Like in these guys, I felt bad for these guys. These guys, when the fire Navi were coming in and like torching the pirate ships that they were driving around, I was, yeah, see these little ships right here. I was like feeling so bad because they would get pulled down to like, help us, and like over, I'd say there was like 3 to 4 scenes of just the planet getting fucked up, the animals getting bucked up. I was like, stop the madness. Like I was losing my absolute shit because you want them to be okay, and it's like, oh, it's a graceful, beautiful time over there. Everyone's having a good old Navi time, and everyone's doing the yub nub. Everyone's not doing the yub nub in this one. It is a sad one. It's a sad nub yub, and I was kind of feeling bummed out at some of these points because it's just like brutal with how much you're having to endure with these Navi from the standpoint of like, damn, how much more can this planet take? How much more can the tribe take? How much more can their flying horses take? Anyways, here we go. There is a separation of the family. I was really glad. I'll just say up front that the family's not gone for that long because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to want to watch this Jake solo movie and a Teary solo movie, and then the kids are doing their own thing. I had already felt like there was a little bit of a split, I think, in the way of water. So I was very glad to see that they kind of came back eventually. But Natiri gets fucked up. She gets shot by the lead fire Navi and Tishik, I think. And I thought it was a kill shot. I thought she was done. I was like, if you fucking kill Natiri, it's going to be someone's ass. So, anyways. And the fire Navi is like doing their own way of like scalping. It's like they take the back little bit of everyone's like spirit connector thing that's in the back of their head that's tied to their hair, and they like cut it off and take it back to their clan place, bunkers, I guess. I don't remember. And someone offhandedly says something like, one of the military guys is like, oh, this is worse than death for them. It's like, oh wow, okay. I don't think we really got explained exactly how that is, but whatever. A lot of things are like doing the thing together, connecting or whatever. So anyways, Miles Quaritch and Jake cross paths reluctantly and work together to find Spider. I was like, oh, this is kind of a cool team up. As Spider lacked a backup oxygen mask, he collapses from asphyxiation while trying to escape. I was like, this kid's dead. And I was honestly surprised that there wasn't even like a bigger fight to try to get him the mask, but you understand why. Kiri connects her tail. I guess it's called her tail. Her spirit connection tail to the ground and goes into a trance. I thought this was a really cool scene. We kind of had seen this in the first movie where it's the transference of the bodies. And so after his body is enveloped with mycela, Spider gains the ability to breathe on Pandora without a mask. Hooray! He got a level upgrade. Much of this movie did feel like, this is a upgrade you'd see in, any other video game or something like that. It's like, oh goodness. So eventually they are trapped by Ash. And first of all, Spider I've heard some people talk about like Spider's writing is a little bit grating, I would say, and a little bit. It feels weird that he's speaking slang on this planet where I don't know where he would have learned that. I don't remember in The Way of Water him being anything but with the Navi, so I don't remember. Maybe I'm misremembering something, but he's got like this weird slang speech to him that I'm like, I don't know if that would track. Like, why is he talking like a teenage Earth kid when they're like 20 billion light years away or something like that from Earth? I don't remember exact. It was something crazy. So eventually they're trapped by the Ash Fighters. Korich and Jake arrive. By the Ash Fighters. That's when Korich and Jake arrive and the former teaches Varang how to use guns. And that's where like there's an odd, weird sexual chemistry at the beginning with Korich and Tishak, the fire leader. So using her power to connect with Iwa, Kiri commands the wildlife to kill the fighters, and they escape. That was pretty cool. I honestly thought she was going to do more, to be honest. They are soon picked up by the rescue group in Natiri, while Korich and Lyle escape. After examining Spider's body, Norm and Max discover an organism inside his body which could be reverse engineered to allow every human to breathe on Pandora, and that he had grown his own unique neural cue from the base of his head, which is the tail, allowing him to connect with Pandora wildlife like the Navi. And honestly, I wasn't even thinking about like, oh shit, now they're going to try to put this special ability for humans and stuff like that, which is kind of a genius idea, but it just happened so fast. There's so many different aspects of like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Like uh, one minute Spider's getting exiled from the family, second minute we're taking, Spider there, third minute all of a sudden there's like a fire breach going on attacking our flying pirate ships, and then next minute we're teaming up with Korich and Jake Sully against the fire people, and then next minute it's like, all right, we're back in civilization. And so much happens in the first hour. I'm just like, oh shit, like I'm just not ready for all of this craziness. So anyways, yeah, the Tolkien Council banishes Payakin. I think it's the whale that the young that Jake's son owns or has or is befriended or whatever. Korich travels to the Ash People's village, bringing them supplies of firearms and flamethrowers. It's honestly a really cool scene to see the fire people like become meshed with the military. I know it's a bad thing. I know it's not supposed to happen. I know it's not a good thing, but it's still just like it felt a lot of the way that it was written was really engrossing, I would say, in just seeing the fire leaders, you know, like from the power prowess of it to the sensual sexual prowess of it. She's like seducing Korich and drugging him and trying to, connect the shigadings and the neural links and stuff like that. And I was just it just flowed very well. I would say that the majority of the first 2 hours of this movie, with the exception of them deciding to exile Spider at the beginning, were nearly a perfect movie. It's, for me, the back half that is rocky, I would say. So Yeah, so Korich convinces them to ally, promising that they will be able to take over any clan and territory together. He and Varang begin a romantic relationship. We don't see anything except for them cuddling at one point, and that got the biggest reaction out of the crowd, out of the entire movie. Kiri helps Spider adjust to bonding with the wildlife, and they kiss. I swear that happened much later in the film, but I was like, this is bound to happen. But also, it's like, isn't he kind of being raised as like another Jake Sully son? So like, what's going on here again? And isn't Sigourney Weaver like playing like a 15-year? I don't know what's going on. Yeah, no one really knows. Let's just watch. Look at the pretty lights. See, I wanted a little bit more of like chilling at the fire people's place. I thought that would have been cool. Um, See, there's like really epic imagery here, and I was just like, this is really cool. And it kind of looks like the place that Scar is hanging in Lion King, right? Um, so yeah, so Korich. Okay, so okay, so Kiri and Spider kiss, and it's like, all right, it's about fucking time. I heard. I think Double Toasted had mentioned. I've only really listened to one review, and they're like, the writing for Spider is nearly like what is going on here, and I kind of agree to the point where he's like, really serious shit is happening, and he's like, "Hey, look at me, I'm shaking my ass, eat my butt." Like he's like saying like, "Eat my shorts" type stuff, and like it's a really dramatic juxtaposition to something that just happened, and something like really traumatizing or really sad will happen one minute, and then the next minute they're like, it was like James was like, all right, this is really sad, we put a fun scene in, put a fun scene in so that everyone's still happy and whatnot. And I noticed that happened like three times. Like a really traumatic scene would happen, then all of a sudden it was just like, uh a traumatic scene would happen, and they'd be like, oh, we gotta do a fun scene. It's okay. It totally works. So the two are ambushed. Kiri and Spider. The two are ambushed, and Spider's kidnapped, forcibly taken for analysis in RDA and base. Korich returns to the Medikayan village with Varing and Manquin. Jake surrenders himself to avoid war and is taken to the RDA base to face execution. I kind of was a little bit confused here because originally he's like, I need you in Natiri, and for some reason I didn't hear them say that Natiri didn't have to go, but she ended up not going. Courage brings the Manquan to the RDA base. Loak looks for Payakan and is soon attacked. So Loak is Jake's son that didn't die, and he is struggling through this movie. This movie has some dark themes in it. Before he goes and decides that he wants to go figure out what's going on with the whales, he has like a suicidal moment where he points one of the guns that he finds, or that he has, and there's this whole theme of like touching the steel like condemns you in a way, or it like makes you evil or something like that. I don't remember the actual words that they say, but they say something of the words like, it fills your blood with hate kind of deal. But there's like death, there is like suicidal alluding towards that. I'm not even alluding. It was pretty like on the screen. I was like, good God, I was thinking about the people that are going to see this on Christmas Day, because I know there's going to be people that are going to go see Avatar on Christmas, and they're like, oh my God, I wasn't expecting to see the Avatar holding a gun against his own head. It's like, this is kind of intense. And it, for me, it doesn't really feel like it lets up at all. So Loak looks for Payakan. So he doesn't end up doing it. He's found by his girlfriend. Don't remember her name at the moment, and he's also found by his sister, I believe, Kiri maybe. And Loak looks, and then he decides not to do it, so that's good. But he does decide to go on a mission. Loak looks for Payakan and is soon attacked. Oh, Payakan was exiled from the whales and the entire community for, I think, fighting in the last film. But I mean, they were being attacked. There's not much you can do. He is rescued by Tolkien and reunites with Tessera and Aonong and Rotso. I don't remember the fuck. I think one of them's the kid with the bus and haircut, with the crazy curly Q. He was more relevant in the second movie. Hundreds of Tolkien congregate for an annual meeting event, which could bring substantial profit when hunted. Ian Garvin, a biologist working for the RDA, opposes the plans, but his advice is ignored. I gotta say that whenever they were in the military base, like walking through the map they have, that was pretty cool. I mean, you don't like the military in this, but I mean, still, it was a pretty cool deal they had going on there. Neytiri infiltrates the base and destroys the RDA infrastructure, while Ian steals a bulldozer to free Jake. And again, Jake is being publicly put into like a giant like glass box and kind of shown off and paraded a little bit, and it's like humiliating to put him into a criminal getup. It's just like, damn, they went the full 9 yards on that one. And this doesn't really show too much of the. I guess it shows one or two scenes of the ending battle, but nothing too crazy. So the RDA cannot afford to kill Spider due to the research potential, so Spider acts as a human shield to protect Jake as he escapes. They eventually do escape after like what seemed like an impossible breakout. Everything is fine, relatively, and for some reason, this is the part that I have the biggest issue with, is that Jake's like, he feels like he needs to agree with Neytiri's reasoning at the beginning. He's like, they'll never stop. They'll never stop coming after us, And to be honest, I felt like it was a complete leap of logic from a part of like Spider just became a human shield for you not to get shot. He helped you from like just like a good person standpoint. He's clearly just trying to do his best, and the couple argues over Spider's liability, and Jake eventually tries to kill Spider, only to be overcome with grief and stop the last minute. And keep in mind, Neytiri said something like at the very beginning of this that he's like, you'll never be part of this family, even though he's been part of the family for like 5+ years now or something like that. Something crazy. I think this is only a couple months after The Way of Water, even though for us it's been 3 years, because there's a pregnant character at the end of the second movie that's still pregnant in this one, so I guess that makes sense. But still, I was like, he still lived with y'all for like 4 years, I believe. I don't think that, if I was correct from The Way of Water, I'm pretty sure he was with the family for quite a long time, and for her to just hate Spider, for her to hate basically all humans, for her to have all of this animosity, and then somehow it infiltrates Jake's like psyche. Like all of a sudden he's like, actually, you're right, Neytiri, we need to take this motherfucker out. It's like and then to the point where it just felt like it went way too fucking intense, like to the point where it was like father has to kill the son so the son's not hunted down by the military and all of this. And I was just like, I don't know if it's just me, but I hate the trope of, oh, I gotta kill somebody, and then they act like they do it, and it's like off screen, and the camera pulls back. It's like, oh, he didn't do it. He didn't do, like, it didn't feel like it needed to come to that at all. That's the that scene brought me down emotionally from like, all right, we're just going on an emotional up and down ride because James Cameron wants to do that right now. But I didn't think that was natural. And then the fact that they were trying to exile him in the beginning and then everyone being okay with it within like 5 minutes just was like a big yada yada. And there was like no question about it, you know? So I was like, okay. I was like, it felt like there was 20 minutes, maybe not 20 minutes, but there was 10 minutes from both of those scenes that could have, 10 minutes to kind of explain why it would make sense to take him to the other tribe, and then another just completely cut that other scene of acting like he was going to kill his son, kill Spider. I just didn't find that was very believable within Jake's character at all. Almost kind of pissed me off. I was like, what? I was like, no. Like, Natiri's standing right there. It's like she doesn't even agree with this, and it was her idea a little bit ago. I don't know. It really just grinds my gears. So, yeah, so he nearly kills Spider in like the most dramatic fashion too. It's not like, hey, go out there, look at the flowers, bang, like pop him in the back of the head with like a gun. He was like, look down, sit down, get on your knees and fucking bang, and like don't look at me kind of thing. Like, you could have just stabbed him once and then be done with it, but you just went like full dramatic with it, and then all of a sudden stopped 180. You think Spider's gonna forget that he was nearly killed by both of his father figures? And this kid's gonna be so fucked up later. If he becomes the bad guy in like the 4th or 5th movie, I would not be surprised, because I'd be pissed. I'd be pissed that anyone thought that I needed to be killed like that, and then all of a sudden they just like flip the switch. Like, if I was in his shoes, I'd be fucking pissed. I'd be really fucking pissed. And I'd definitely be carrying, because good lord, these 10-foot Avatar motherfuckers huge as fuck. Anyways, and if Kiri knew that her parents nearly took out Spider, she would never forgive them either, I don't think. I mean, exiling him was one thing, but to try to take him out in the woods and like nearly look at the flowers, Spider, it's like, oh my god. I was like, this is cold-blooded. So, and I didn't feel like there was anything that really shifted in Jake Sully's head that was like, man, it's, instead of being, it's a bad idea to do it, like, there was no emotional through line of like, ah, oh, man, I've been his father. That's all I can do. It's not like he was begging for his life, and all of a sudden, I didn't see that at all. I could not figure it out. Jake Sully, kind of a shitty father. Maybe he is actually a shitty father, and I mean, there's several times he's like, I think he even says, I don't know if I want to kiss you or yell at you or something like that. I was like, and maybe a shitty husband as well. I was like, that's not really a good line. I was like, isn't Natiri saving you at this point, like a little bit ago in the RTA infrastructure shit? I was like, it's crazy. Oh my god, he's gone down in my book a little bit in this. So at the Medicayenne village, the Tulkun Council hears Jake's warning of an incoming massacre, and I hate how he has like, I'm the Tonak or whatever the fuck, and y'all have to listen to me because I got the biggest, craziest flying horse thing. I was just like, okay. He doesn't say that, but he kind of says that. So the council hears Jake's warning of an incoming massacre, but decides not to act. Loak brings Payakan and Tanak, the sole survivor of a human attack, and they reconsider. Jake rebonds with Toruk and rallies all the Na'vi clans to battle. It's not all the Na'vi clans, but I think they say all the clans that are within a day's ride. He was very specific to say that so they wouldn't be like, oh, and this is everybody that's on Pandora or whatever. But it's a lot. The next day, the Tolkien and Na'vi disseminate an unusual RTA fleet. Suddenly, the Kaiwan, Mangaquan, and Megatron, I don't know, Megaquan, Korok attack, inflicting heavy casualties, including Rockstow. That's the bussing kid, I think, with the hair, the crazy curly hair. Renal is mortally wounded and dies later in childbirth, with Natiri taking her baby Pril before being captured. I was like, are we gonna sit here and have an? I thought it was like 15 minutes left of the movie. We were still like 45 minutes before the end of the movie, and I was like, she's having a baby right now, and the baby's out, and now Natiri's captured. I was like, God. It's like, this movie's like, I was having a great time. I thought it was a feast, visual feast, but I was like, this is a lot. This is a lot now. And like I said, this is a lot of downers. Like the mother dies and childbirth's happening and a lot of whales and squids getting squashed and shot. And, it's sad music happening. And the music's great. I'll be honest. I can't hum. It's like, da, 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 some, I don't know. But I was kind of in a daze at a certain point. Kiri contacts Yua, who commands the wildlife. No, not Siri. Kiri. Contacts Yua, who commands the wildlife to attack the rest of the RDA craft. Varang tries to kill Natiri, but is overwhelmed by Kiri's Q connection and escapes. It's a really beautiful scene of like all of the kids trying to connect with Yua, and there's this giant face. It's like the big mother, and she's like, "What the fuck did you say, man?" Like, I was just like, "Oh Lord." This has got some 2001 big space baby vibes right here. The Turok destroys the RDA flagship. Sorry. Kiri contacts Yua, who commands the wildlife to attack the rest of the RDA craft. Varang tries to kill Natiri, but is overwhelmed by Kiri's Q connection and escapes. I thought the ending... I'm already reading it now. The fire people get completely pushed to the side in this third act. I thought it should have been the fire people versus the Na'vi, and specifically Natiri kind of leading it. But I was kind of underwhelmed with what happened with the fire people, and that's where I thought that this movie could have had a little bit of a rewrite to help kind of focus it up, because the military ultimately come in. And there's a big fight ensues. It looks like we're about to lose, but then we got to connect with Mother UI and then get the cheat codes in, and then we're back in business, baby. And then we got all the flying Deus Ex Machina animals coming in from the planet, and it's like, all right, this is really cool. It's great, but this is like almost exactly what's happened in the last movie. Kind of had this, but there's also a big military battle of the last three of these movies. I just thought it would have been a little bit more interesting if the fire people had more of a presence at the end of this one. But it ultimately becomes a Korich, Spider, Jake Sully, and Natiri battle. And Kiri and family are still there too. So the Turok destroys the RDA flagship in a magnetic flux, killing General Ardmore, which I think General Ardmore was the guy without an arm who got his arm bit off by one of the big whales in the last one. I thought he was dead in the last one, but he came back in this. What's his face? The biologist is so fucking funny. I don't have it right here, but David Thewlis. I do not have this brother's name at all. Anyways, he's the funny guy. Jermaine Clement. That's who it is. He was bringing the most likable gravitas to this entire movie, which honestly, I didn't like that many people in this because Kiri's probably one of the more likable ones, but she's struggling. Everyone is struggling through this movie, just with wanting to be there, wanting to be alive at certain points. Like it is just like it's kind of a fucking big downer at many points of this movie, and that's. I think I had more fun with the first and second one, and it's not like I want to have, I don't want to base this rating completely on more fun or not, but if it's a big downer the entire time and just like having to watch the world, the beautiful world that they're in, just get destroyed, it's like, oh my god, how much more can we take? And yeah, so anyways, the General Ardmore gets taken to the bottom of the ocean fucking crazily, and while Mick Scoresby is killed by, I don't know who, maybe that's actually who it is. Mick Scoresby, I don't remember, is killed by a Tanakh. Spider shoots Quaritch, but he falls off a floating rock only for Quaritch to catch him. It's pretty crazy that Spider shoots him directly in the arm, and that's the arm that can't pick him up because they're falling into a floating rock that's about to go into a giant fire pit. Again, I wish that the fire people were more involved in this and it wasn't just those three. Anyways, he falls off a floating rock only for Quaritch to catch him. Jake reluctantly pulls both them up, and then they have like this weird, like, they even say like, well, this is awkward. And I felt like that was kind of there's a couple times that Quaritch just says things out loud that feel like they would be said here and today rather than, I don't know, this is supposed to be like the future or something like that. But, and then in a completely other planet, I don't know. There's a lot of like casual talk. I felt like that it like drawing attention to what's happening kind of deal. And it's a little bit of the Marvel syndrome. It's like, oh, something really dramatic's happening, and then we're going to cut through it with a joke. I don't remember the second one doing that much. But anyways, Spider shoots Quaritch, but he falls off a floating rock only for Quaritch to catch him. Jake reluctantly pulls both of them up. Neytiri and both her children arrive. Outnumbered, Quaritch jumps off the rock. And I think it is kind of, telling that we don't see his actual body at the end. So I was just like, all right, clearly this brother's not dead. I mean, we don't see the body hit anything. We don't see him hit. We don't see any sign that he won't come back in the next following movies. I thought it was kind of weak. I felt like we went through 3.5 hours of kind of intense, crazy, dramatic, sad, sometimes depressing, storytelling, but just a visual spectacle. All of this to be like, and now they are to be continued. So I was like, God dang it. I was like, damn it, you couldn't even finish the story in this one. This one does not feel like the complete story like the first two felt like. This one feels like, oh, but wait, there's more. In another couple years or so, And I was like, oh, come on now. So, unfortunately, I don't feel like we get a resolute ending to this that really was super satisfying, and it honestly felt a little bit rushed towards the end. Still give it a 8 out of 10, but let me finish this up. Spider and clan members connect to the underwater spirit trees where he meets all the deceased Na'vi, including like humans too. Like Kiri, we see Kiri's mother. It's real life Sigourney Weaver, which, aren't we looking at Sigourney Weaver's body at a certain point in the tubes? I'm really confused at some of these. Anyways, Spider and the clan members, they connect to spirit trees where all the deceased. Kiri introduces Spider to Grace. Okay, so yeah, and they initiate him into the tribe as the camera pans out. And revealing a moon-wide interconnected network. Again, a dramatic scene's happening with Spider saying something kind of off the wall and not at all appropriate, but it's like, okay, you got to give it to Spider. He's just crazy Spider-Man. But yeah, so that is Avatar, Fire and Ash. Let me know what you thought about the movie. Let me know what you thought about the review. Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you even see it, or did you just sit through this entire review without even checking it out? It's totally cool if you did, but I hope you go see it because I definitely think it's worth seeing in theaters. Again, I saw it in Real D 3D, and actually when I walked in, did I mention that the projector was not projecting the 3D correctly? So if you see that your trailers are in 3D, which most of mine were, or every other one was, but your glasses are not making it 3D, it's because possibly something's wrong with the projector or the filter did not get removed. Apparently there's like a filter that goes over the projector that helps it do whatever, but if it's still on and your glasses are not turning at 3D, it's because the filter is still on. I went and had a conversation with the lady outside, and I was like, ma'am, I am not sitting. I didn't say this, but I basically said something's wrong with the projector. It's not working right. But she did want to have like a quick conversation with me. She was like, who's winning? Who's winning? Faza, who's winning? Hold on, I'll pull up the cow sheet for that too. There's a big fight going on right now, and it's interesting. Oh my goodness, is Jake Paul going down? Oh my lord! Oh, it hasn't even started. What are we talking about? Anyways, so no, it's not Jake Paul. It's Jake Sully. But yeah, so I had this big like conversation with the I don't know, manager lady, and she's like trying to ask me if like, talking to me like it's my first movie. It's like, well, did you put the glasses on? What's it doing? What's it not doing? Ma'am, the movie is about to start and I'm trying to get your shit right. Oh my gosh. Don't you think they're all fixed, Foz? Don't you think they're all fixed? But let me wrap this up. Again, I give it an 8 out of 10. It's another solid entry into the Avatar universe. I would definitely check it out if you get the opportunity and have the time. This is a chunky boy. 3 hours, 15 minutes. But again, James Cameron delivers again. So, you know what to do. Like, share, subscribe. Follow on Twitch. Subscribe on YouTube. Do all that good stuff. We got the Threads, to Blue Sky, to the Instagrams, to the TikToks. We're on all that good stuff. We got cool peeps up in the chat, of course. We got classic Foz always jumping in, always got his 2 cents. Afternoon Tune, thank you for the 20 biddies. And we got a whole bunch of family, chat fam in there. So thank y'all for joining, listening. Look at our podcast, and take it easy. And I see you.